My friend Trevor is a maniac. He is a multiple champion of world's toughest mudder. He has raced the ceiling of the world in Nepal. He's a Marine. He is an entrepreneur, and he's just an all around amazing guy. Our conversation takes us all over the place, as conversations with me usually do. But this is one of the most incredible people that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. So I'm not going to delay it anymore or say anymore. So just please enjoy my conversation with Trevor Cichosz.
What's up, man?
How you doing? I like the hair.
Not prepared. I got caught in the doldrums of Instagram again. Just stupid people sending me things that are I don't need to waste my time with. How the hell are you, man? I love the hair. Looks good.
Thanks.
I'm trying to take after you. Hopefully this will help my endurance levels, but I'm not even halfway there.
I heard it helps. I don't know. We'll see.
You know what I really love about having long hair when you run is the feeling of the wind in your hair. I just that's like I've had my hair long twice, like this long twice in my life, and a little bit longer. And like I saw my stepmother sent me this ad, like this Saucony ad or something. It was just a beautiful photo of, like, it could have been Ireland or something, maybe like the California coast. And there was just this skinny little dude just trucking, and his hair was just like flowing. I'm like, that's, not really an active goal or anything. It was just like, I just don't do anything, keep running, and eventually you'll feel it. But how you been, man?
Good. Just freaking running my own business. So, I mean, I have 15 clients and they take all my time. I live by my phone. So
I know that. I know that feeling, man. That's awesome. So it's a private security.
Yeah, well, right now my biggest thing is I install temporary systems on construction sites with cameras and proactive video monitoring. So if anyone tries to go on during non-working hours, our system picks up their detection into the site, and then we use audio speakers to deter them. If that doesn't deter them, we dispatch police. But I'm getting to the guard side too, because the police are just overwhelmed in Seattle. They only run 4 patrol cars per precinct on weekends, which that is not enough. So, I mean, we dispatched police twice the other night, and the police didn't respond. Like, we can't. 4 hours we checked in, like, anything yet? Like, nope, we can't. We're still busy. Those guys, they're overworked. So I'm going to create my own private dispatch force and just respond to my own calls.
Hell yeah. So, I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of you, man. Now, so congratulations on and forgive me, it's GR Security, is that right? GP Security. What does that stand for?
Great prices, good people, ground pounders, all you want it.
All right,
it just
cool.
works. And this GPS when you put it together. So yeah. Okay. So I already had that ground pounding security business in Florida since 2010, which actually saved me in court. Thank God.
I didn't know that. Tell me about that. I didn't know you had another security company.
No, yeah, I started that one a long time ago. I started working for the federal government, and for tax purposes. Right. And then my competitor tried to sue me, saying that I stole their business model. And I was like, look, I've been doing this 10 years, so I actually predate you. And I showed him my EIN from Florida, and that closed the case. Now we're just fighting over. This is the second time they sued me, by the way. And now we're just fighting over who's going to pay the court fees, which, in any other country besides America, the loser pays the court fees, which they lost twice, but I still got to pay. So yeah, we're working that out.
That's kind of ridiculous. So let me ask you this. How do you steal a business model for a security company? And first off, let me say that if no one's suing you, then you're not working hard enough. You're successful if somebody's suing you. So keep up the good work.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they are... $50 million company, and I'm a small dog, and I stole a lot of jobs from them in Seattle. And Seattle is one of their big cash cows. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. Yeah, and that pissed him off. And like, we're gonna sink this little guy before he gets big. And yeah, good luck.
So, yeah, I don't know how organized you are. That's great, man. Congratulations on that win. Speaking of wins, I was reading up on your I guess it's the latest ground pounder. I mean, have you been entering stuff? The one I found was 2019 when you took third at World's. I'm sorry, OCRW. But have you been writing on it? Did I just miss a link somewhere?
I last race I actually did was World's Toughest Mudder 2019. I won that one. I've never been to OCRWC because
Where were you in Australia? Where were you in Australia?
Oh, that was the OCRWC. I got third there in Australia. That was 2019 as well. Yeah, but that was
Yeah, okay.
That was June. Yeah.
So, man, I was reading. I mean, first of all, congratulations. We haven't talked in a long time. It's been at least 4 years, I guess, and you're doing your thing. I'm doing my thing. We've both been, avidly growing our hair. But man, I was reading through your accounts, and I want to kind of like, I know that the OCR thing is like you've told that story a million times, but you just keep doing cool shit, man. So like, until you keep topping that, like that's kind of like, it's the draw, man. Like you just go and go and go. But one thing I do want to get into that a bit, but I was reading your account of it, and like it's probably like I don't know, 5 or 6 pages worth of a post if you were going to put it on letterhead. And like your descript, like when do you write that? Because I've tried that before, and your writing I can't remember all the details. Like can you walk me through your process of, like leading up to it? I was like, okay, I've been there before. I know that, like that feeling. And then the sun goes down and you're like, shit, here it comes. And it was just really well written, man. Can you walk me through that process a little?
Well, I mean, I usually after the race is done, I get food and I try to sleep. Usually after those 24-hour races, you're so broke, you don't really sleep much. So I give it a day to kind of process everything. And then while I'm recovering, which is usually a 2 days or 3 days after, I kind of just lay around and I write it. And I think on that occasion, I wrote it on my iPhone because I'm reading a computer. So, and the iPhone gives you a lot of time to think because I type with one finger all real slow and stuff. So I left Australia a week after. I wrote it when I was in Fiji. It was I spent 3 days in Fiji, and I was so broken I couldn't do anything. I just lay on the beach for 3 days and drank beer and typed this on my iPhone. But I think I did it all in just one shoot. I do the whole write in one shoot because if I stop, then I lose my thought, and so that's why they're not super long. But
I thought it was great. I thought it was a perfect length. And Fiji's, by the way, not a bad place to be broken on a beach. And recovering. So you went from Nepal. This is just 2019. I mean, for everybody, I want you to tell everybody your brief bio real quick, because it's always better than me trying to stumble out all your wins and stuff. But you went from Nepal, and were you climbing Everest?
No.
A month later, what were you doing?
So I did that 200-mile race in Scotland,
and you won that.
Yeah, right? I won that. Set the course record, which has been broken since. But so I won that, but it just happened to be the right year to win it because the Chinese guys that were organizing the race in Nepal, they were there to recruit Wayne Drinkwater, who's the Scottish guy who hosted that race. He's a really good race director, like really good, and they were there to recruit him, and they came to the ceremony and they saw that I won, and they're like, we need a token white guy. So they're like, do you want to go too? So I was like, yeah, I do want to go. It's all expenses paid to Nepal for was there 2.5, 3 weeks, and they paid for everything. Like
that's great.
They paid for hotels, like all the meals, and it was super cool. I mean, there's 115 staff there for the race for men racers. And I was racing.
How many racers? How many racers?
9 racers total.
9.
So this was the second year they ever did it. And the first year, I think they only had like 2 or 3 guys just because they weren't sure if it was possible. And this guy's like the winner did in 105 hours that year. And then they're like, all right, we can bring more people. And they're still trying to grow the race. But so they invited 9 of us, and all of us everyone has a big resume in ultra running. And then, and most people don't know the Asian athletes because, it's kind of whole different culture. Like China really locks down. But anyways, they filmed the whole race. They put it on Chinese TV. We never got to see. I still never seen the final product, but it was a 135-mile race from Jiri all the way up to Lukla, so you race from Jiri to Lukla. people now just fly to Lukla, but when Edmund Hillary climbed Everest, he started in Jiri. So that tacks on an extra 50 miles. And then you go from Jiri to Namche Bazaar, but instead of going straight to Everest Base Camp from there, we took a left and went way up this one valley, climbed over 18,000 foot mountain pass, went back down, ran down another valley, went up another 18,000 foot pass, back down, then went to Everest Base Camp, 18,000 feet or 17,000 something feet. Then we came back down from that and then went up another mountain pass, 18,000 feet again, back down, then ran back down to Lukla. So it was like 135 miles and like 75 miles of the race for over 15,000 feet elevation. So
yeah, it was no big deal. Just an idle Tuesday for you. That's crazy, man. So you didn't sleep for what, 4 days?
Well, it took me 100 hours because I got really bad altitude sickness very early on because I didn't acclimate at all. I was in Afghanistan the 2 months prior to that with broken ribs, so I didn't do any training and or acclimate. And I flew straight from Afghanistan home, grabbed a bag, went to Nepal, and just took a whack at it. And I got sick the first day, and then I was just sick the whole time.
You're just sick. So that's kind of one of your things that I've always noticed about you is you're just like, all right, well, I've got diarrhea or I've got extreme chafing or I'm broken in some way, but just like, fuck it, keep going. That's always been something that I really admire about you, and you identify it with it very well. That gear that a lot of other people don't have.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good quote from that book, Endurance. Is those who I can't remember the exact verbiage, but those who account for every possibility do far less than those that just do it. Like you can sit there and count out how long it's going to take you, all your rations you need, or you can just freaking send it and just see what happens. And people that just recklessly dive into life like that seem to do better than those that plan for every possibility and tiptoe around it. So
they at least have better stories. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and I subscribe to that as well, my friend. That's one thing that's always kind of drawn me to your style of just doing things. So, all right. So I didn't realize there was quite a lead up to OCRW obstacle course. What the hell is it? OCR World Championships. That's what it is. So it sounds like you were on rotation right before you came and raced in Nepal. Is that what you were doing in Afghanistan? Got it. So that was what, like 8-9 months?
No, I'm a federal contractor, so I only do 60-day trips. Super short.
Oh, okay. I understand. Is that security also?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I haven't done it since COVID started. So
right. Okay. Well, if you can talk about that, I'd like to dig into that in a minute and see what that's like. But if not, that's totally fine. So before that was the Ultra Great Britain race across Scotland, right? That was 2018. How'd you get roped into that?
I've been doing the OCR thing for a long time. And all I'd ever done was run 150-miler ultra. And then these 200-milers became really big. And there's one in my backyard called Bigfoot 200, which is literally my backyard. That's where I grew up, Mount St. Helens. That's my beating ground. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Then I looked at the price tag. I'm like, it was like $1,200. I'm no way, no. And you had to volunteer. Like, I don't have 8 hours to volunteer. I don't have that time. So I looked at the Moab one and the one in Tahoe, and they're all like over $1,000. And I looked at this one in Great Britain, it was like $300. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Plus, Scotland's cool, and it was a point A to point B race. So you run across the country, not in the narrowest part, but one of the widest parts. And it's like, well, that's cool because I like going point A to point B, and you get to see more country. And I already been around Tahoe a bunch and my backyard, so I wasn't interested in that. And actually, the Moab course goes through 50 miles of the race I'd already run before Moab. So it's kind of like, it's cheaper and it's a totally new place for me to explore. So that's why I did that one. And I loved it. I'm actually thinking about doing it again this summer, but I need to reach out to Wayne and see if it's happening.
And that's the one you set the course record for?
Yeah, I did it in 65 hours, but some kid last year during COVID did it in like 58. So it beat me by about 7 hours. That's a big
jump.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? I mean, what do you? What do you reckon
He had,
he did?
he had pacers and he knew the route. I got lost so many times in that race.
Oh,
Especially because like those early Scottish mornings, you can't even see 100 feet in front of you because the fog's so thick, and it's not a trail. You're running through fields, and there's these wooden markers like every 200 yards. So sometimes, like, where's the next marker? You're just wandering around this field. And at one point, I had to lay down a map and freaking, get my compass out and everything, and go back to the roots of land nav and try to figure out where I was. I wasted about 35 minutes that time because I was just totally lost. And there's no land references to use because there's not really any mountains there. It's just
everything's
rolling
just hills. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you had a mountain to look at, like, oh sweet, there's the mountain there. Here's the angle to the mountain, so I know that I'm here and I'm estimating it's this far. And then but there with no land references to use, it's kind of hard. Or terrain association, it's usually how I navigate, but can't really do that up there. And there's not many rivers that you can use as reference either.
So, and I know you enjoy like the solitude of just being out there, and it's kind of you and Mother Nature. So do you think now that whatever that kid's name is, if you're watching, we should talk. Do you think that because he got such an advantage because of having a pacer with him, do you think that's something that you would look into doing just to get the record back?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people in that race had support cars that, because you do cross a lot of towns and roads, and they have cars meet them there. They would change shoes, they would change socks, they would get coffee. So like, it's not one of those races where you got to carry everything you have. But I didn't know anyone in the race, so I literally carried everything on my back. I had 4 pairs of socks with me and all my food, and I just ran with a backpack. Or if I did it again, I'd try to get. I made a bunch of friends in Scotland while I was there, and a lot of people I think would go out to try to help me to do it. And that way I want to carry everything, and I just meet them, because you cross the road almost at least every 10, 15 miles. So you don't really need to carry anything. You could do it light and fast. So I would try to do that, do it light and fast, have a support crew meet me, help me change shoes, change socks. I had wet feet the entire time too, because the Scottish bogs, even in August, everything's wet. So my feet were literally wet for 65 hours. I had a dead skin. I got trench foot. And what is that like, man? That was my next question. Like you're wet that long, you get waterlogged big time. Yeah, my feet were pure white, just peeled. I peeled one layer of skin off, and then the next layer died, and I peeled that layer off, and my feet were terrible. I couldn't walk. The last 20 miles took like 8 hours just because my feet were in such pain. Like every step I was cringing. It was terrible. So I would definitely like to have dry shoes to change into. I thought one pair was enough. Obviously it wasn't smart.
Well, you were doing research. Got to figure it out.
No, I just dove into it.
I know. Well, I know. No, that's what I mean. Yeah. You're like, this is the research run. And some kid's like, he made a bunch of mistakes and he capitalized on those. But next time, you'll be ready. How many people do you think that you would need to make that like a successful PR for yourself and for the record?
1-2 people with a car.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So it's actually Neil Rutherford. He won the race the previous year, and he was leading me for a long time, and I'm catching up to him. And we ran together for a while. And his support crew came up with the car, and they gave him hot coffee, they gave him chocolate. And actually, I had already hurt myself a few times by then. They bandaged me up with Band-Aids and all that stuff, but then I ended up losing them, and his knee locked up, so he actually dropped out of the race that year. But so seeing kind of the way he was doing the race and then the way I was doing it, I'm like, my way was pretty stupid. His way was really smart. So, but I didn't know anyone in Scotland. Now I do. So I like to go back. Plus, it's a really great community of people. It's
beautiful country to run in also.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you've got Scotland, you ran clear across it. What was the most difficult terrain that you came into contact? The farm.
You go through a lot of private property, so you got to, you open their gate, close it behind you, and then you run through their farm, and the ground is wet there. Then the cows and sheep walk all over it, and then it hardens and dries, and then those where their hooves were, all those little holes. They're basically, it looks like a flat grassy field, but every step you're twisting your ankles, so you're like tiptoeing around like you're running on scree, but it's really just hardened dirt. And then those holes that they form fill with little water, so like you can be running thinking that you're gonna be dry. Like every time I change my socks, it was like 5-10 minutes of bliss, and then splash. I'd step through a puddle in the grass you even see, because the grass hides the water there. So that was it. Just running through those farms is the worst part.
Every time I got to, oh, go ahead.
every time I got to a forest, I'm like, thank God, no more, cow hooves freaking step around and anything. But
I love how quickly you answered that question too. Like it wasn't some, crag you had to go over. You're just like farms. That's it. Farms. Like people watching and listening to this would not, we wouldn't think that, like if somebody puts a race on and it's, like a shorter distance regular person race, like a, 10-mile Spartan or something like that. They're like, it's on this farm. Like, yeah, farmland. It's flat. No. It's flat. It's flat to the naked eye, but you got Martian divots down there, and those will take you out of the race with one bad step.
Yeah, I was cursing cows the entire time. First thing I was going to eat when I was done with a hamburger.
I'm going to eat you, cow.
Yeah. I cannot wait to eat a hamburger because fuck these cows. Like, ruining my feet.
So okay, so the farm was the toughest part of the terrain. What was, when you get, I know you know what I'm talking about with this question I'm about to ask you, when you're just in the pipe 5x5 and you have that kind of like exalting feeling of, this is what I was made to do. I was made to run. I was made to pound the ground, and you're just, the terrain's perfect, maybe a slight little downgrade, and you're just flying. Like, where did you find that? Like, what is that ideal situation like for you?
What's my ideal terrain?
Yeah, well, in this race, like what was the best terrain for you?
Best terrain was the single track when we did find it. Like the course started 3 miles along the coast, single track. It was like, that was amazing. It ended on 3 miles of single track along the coast too. But then every time we got to the forest, when we got on actual trails, then that's when it was running time. But going through the towns, I got lost a few times in towns, and then also going through the farms. That's where you're tiptoeing around because you want to roll your ankles and just screw your race. But I don't know how many times I rolled my ankles, but they're elastic, so they just snap right back. But,
yeah. So when you were running through these towns, did people know what was going on? Was there like a, hey, this like longest race in Scotland is happening, like look out for this dude, or like 10 other people or whatever? Or were they just kind of like, oh, what's this guy doing here?
Well, you went through like 10 real towns, and that was every time you went through a town was an aid station. So, so there was the aid station about every 20 to 25 miles. But I mean, you do cross roads, but a lot of them are like, gravel roads or just a country road. So you can get resupplied by your crew in between aid stations, which is the advantage that other people had that I didn't. But each town you do get to, there's a signs that like, hey, the aid station's over here. So the whole town's knew about it. Actually, the town's volunteered. A lot of the volunteers were locals from that town, and they'd stay up all night and cook you food. You get there, they'd be like, you want beer, you want freaking soup, you want a hot sandwich, you want this, you want that. So it's really, really cool.
That's awesome to see a community come together and like kind of support you like that. All right. So you just rolled out of bed and you were like, hey, I'm going to go do this by myself, and I'm going to win it, and I'm going to set a course record. And, when you came across the finish line and people, someone told you that, what was the difference between your record and the course before? The record before?
The record before? I think the record before was self-supported. It wasn't during a race. The guy had just set the FKT on it. I don't know if he did it self-supported or I forget the difference. So in like FKTs, if you use a crew, it's called something. And if you do it entirely by yourself, it's called something else. So technically, I didn't do it entirely by myself because I did use aid stations, but I did B's its time. So whatever. I don't really follow the whole FKT stuff. But
what is FKT?
Fastest known time.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It's actually become really big during COVID because there's no races, so everyone's just chasing FKTs. Basically, it's just another way to race through Strava and personal verification using GPS devices. But no, I think I do a lot faster. I got lost. I had wet feet, which ruined. Of course, the guy wants to run his chainsaw now. But
you're good. I can't hear it at all, man. It's all good.
Oh, okay, good. But I could cut time with using a crew, so I don't have to carry all my weight on my back. Also, another thing was running with that backpack. even though I got one of those vests that jacks the backpack up, I still had blood, like basically just running 200 miles with the backpack. I'd worn all the skin off my back, and my shirt had actually went into the blood. So when I was finished with the race and I took my shirt off, I basically just ripped a huge scab off my back, and I didn't even know it was there. And then it was a painful cry, but yeah, without a backpack would be great. Having a support crew to get changed, keep my feet dry, don't get lost, and don't wear a backpack. And I could shave off a lot of time.
So your back is basically flayed and your feet are rotting, and we didn't talk about your crotch. How was your crotch? There's a lot of moisture out there. You're probably chafing pretty bad too.
Yeah, because back then I was still doing a lot of Olympic lifting, squats and deadlifts and all that, and so my legs were pretty big at the time.
They get the thigh rub going. Yeah.
Yep. No, you got that whole thing. Yep. And what I wear, just probably my green silkies. So yeah, I get that thigh rub. Next time I'll probably just wear like some under bottom to keep that out. But yeah, I like to go back.
Hell, man. Yeah, it sounds like because you've got A, you want it, that's awesome, and B, you've got so many things that are just easy improvements, because you've got a freaking a whole like just army of people that would want to help you, stateside and over there. And it's like, hey, like so you wouldn't have to just Forrest Gump that thing like you did last time, and that would just the terrain, exactly what's coming, what to wear, what not to wear, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, go get your title back, man.
Yeah, I want to do it. I think it's like I have to talk to Wayne and see if it's still going on. We still chat, but if he's doing it this year. But I know the UK and the Commonwealth countries are still pretty locked up from COVID. Like Canada, you still can't cross the border. So
yeah. LA County, as we're talking right now, LA County is going into a got to wear masks indoors again thing because the Delta variant's spreading around and yada yada yada. But we'll just stay as healthy as we can and hope for the best. All right, so. Is there anything else that you want to add about the Ultra Great Britain race that might be just awesome to talk about? Because flayed back, riding feet, Forrest Gump, that's all pretty dope stuff. But I don't want to leave anything out.
Oh no, it was a personal challenge for me, and it is a race style I do prefer because it's more about exploration than just running laps around a course and just suffering. Yeah. So it's kind of the direction I'm going now with racing. I want to just do more exploration because it's what I've always been passionate about is traveling and stuff, and that's a great way to travel. I do like World's Toughest Mudder because it's got the obstacles to mix it up, and it's totally just a little NASCAR race. But I do like the long solo runs of being alone for 50 hours in the woods and having to navigate and just do all these other skills that you don't have to use in other races.
One thing I really loved, the last time I saw you in person was America's Toughest Mudder 2017, and you were just like hanging out. Like I rolled up at midnight and I was like, Trevor, what's up? And you're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm about to run this thing. And for whatever reason you weren't racing, thank you, because it helped me to place one person higher for whatever it's worth. And that was a great course because they had two courses, and they were 5 miles from, what was it, 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. and then 3 a.m. What was it?
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it was 8-hour race then. Yeah, that was the very first toughest. Yeah,
it was the first America's Toughest that they had. But they were like, it was 4 hour loop. So they were like, you had your flats from, I guess, 9 or. Did you start at? No, you started at midnight. That's right. Started at midnight. From midnight to 4 a.m. was on the flats, and then from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. was a much hillier course. And one of the things that I'm speaking to the solitude of things, like you don't get much of that at any Tough Mudder. There's always like some techno party going on somewhere, and I'm cool with that. But like when you're like when the sun is down and it's cold and you're in your head. And you're just trudging like up a big, behemoth of a mountain. And it's just, you can only see your headlamp. I love that. And and you can just, you've got the rhythm of your breath, and that's basically it. And maybe you're hearing whatever's under your feet crunching. But like, I remember on this course, I'm crunching up some hill, and like way off in the distance, it was only like 3 miles away, but it was still, a little ways. There's like it looked like, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, like the little party going on. And you could just hear that. And I'm kind of like, I enjoy my solitude out here. This is nice. And it was that little pick me up. And then you run back into the madness. And you're like, oh, get me out of here. And then back out into the wilderness. And that's one thing I really take. That was one of the last like super long distance for me, that I did, was like, 30 miles overnight. But anyway, I digress. We don't need to talk about me anymore.
Have you tried ultra marathon yet?
No, I haven't. Here I go with excuses, but I did get injured when COVID hit. So had a baby. I'm a dad now, by the way. Had a baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My wife did all the work. I just pay for things. And I had a nasty case of IT band syndrome, and I didn't know what it was. And it took me a long time to figure out. And I got to the point where I was running, and I'd run 6 miles, and my left knee would feel like somebody just had a butter knife just on that patellar shelf and was just kind of grinding on it. And it got to the point where I was just depressed from running. So I just started lifting a lot. And I'm actually just now, for the past 3 months, I've just gotten back into, any kind of running. But no, ultras have been out of my game for a while. So I've just kind of shifted my energies. But
did you scrape your IT band to fix it, or you just let it do its thing?
No, I definitely went on a hardcore rehab program. I'm very right side dominant. So I lengthened all this stuff out on the right side. I strengthened all the stuff on the left side, and it's not perfect, but it's much, much better. And I'm just working on getting my times back down. And I've actually been doing a lot of calisthenics, working on going into a plunge and then a handstand from there. And that's actually a lot of pistol squats. So I don't actually need a gym, which is great because I'm traveling more now also. And I don't feel married to the weight room like I used to be. And my body doesn't hurt as much. Which is great because, like as my vintage matures, it's definitely something I need to, I can only train as hard as I can recover. And like, this was the first time I'd been stopped by an injury. And it was like, really, I was like, whoa, I gotta think about this.
And that's another one of the things that COVID taught people, is realize that they don't need gyms. They can make them out of home, like we'll start doing kettlebell stuff, and I stopped all Olympic lifting. So basically all I do now is rock climb and run. And I do have my kettlebells, which sometimes I've used a little bit, but not much. And I mean, I've lost weight and muscle, which is good, but I'm I'm actually faster than I was back then. So
it's always that trade-off. It's like, do I want to be really strong? Like when I came back from, I guess out of the COVID cocoon, and I was like, I'm going to run, test this knee out. It was just like, it felt like I had like trash can logs just for legs, just like clang, 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 not fast at all.
Yeah. Well, I used to drink all that Kool-Aid thinking I need to lift heavy so I can build bone density so I don't get injured during races, but I haven't done that. And I'm, so it's just, I don't think anything's changed. I've just gotten faster since I stopped lifting. So
I think that your one's bone density is adequate with all of the pounding from running. Like, you're good. I don't think that, I think the people that don't run say things like that. They're like, okay, cool. Well, you go ahead and you deadlift your 500 pounds. And then let's go on a 10 miler and see how you feel. It's like, all right, cool. But anyway, all right. So Scotland, and then you were deployed, and then you went to Nepal.
Yeah. So Scotland. Then I stayed in Europe for a month after that, and then I went home. And in Europe,
what'd you do for a month?
I hung out with Stephanie Bishop. She won World Stuff 2016. She actually was flying out to see her friend in Scotland, so it just happened to be perfect. I hung out with her for a week and her friend in Edinburgh. We did the Fringe Festival, which is just a bunch of amateur magicians and artists and all this stuff come out to just take over the city, and it's all free.
What? That sounds awesome. Sounds like a Renaissance fair.
Yeah, my favorite thing was the magic show, so I'd chase down every magic show I got. There's a little app you could download, so you see all this stuff around you, different shows, and I like the comedy ones too. And then, then you get to see music a lot, which I'm not. I mean, I like music, but I don't need to go to a concert to see it. I can listen to it. But and then after that, I went down to London and stayed with my friend Michael, a guy I met in Peru back in 2012. We're still friends. And then I went to where did I go after that? I went to Sweden, visited my friend from the Marine Corps who married a Swedish girl out there. We went kayaking out in the archipelago.
Wow.
We rented some sea kayaks and went out about 15K through the islands and found an abandoned island and it was on and we went camping there.
Oh,
and
awesome.
actually, those sea kayaks are very unstable. Like you have to be engaged, like slacklining engaged with your core. If you relax for a second, I think he was putting his sunglasses on and he just went upside down, flipped, and he held the beer, which beer floats in water, thank God. But
wait, he had an open beer and he rolled his kayak. What? Okay,
no,
tell me that again.
He was kayaking. May just pause for a second and put on sunglasses. But if you're not actively paddling on those kayaks, I don't know which ones we had. They were really long, but yeah, he just flipped right over because he stopped being proactive for a second, and I missed it. And I look over and I just see his kayak upside down. He's gone, and I see beer floating around the water. I'm like, oh shit! So I paddle over there.
So did you save the beers or your friend first?
Well, we saved my friend, but the Swedish Coast Guard came over on their boat and just watched to make sure that we were able to do the self-rescue. So I had to pull his kayak over mine like a T, and then he had to climb onto it and then flip it over and climb in, and I had to slide him off because there's no way he could, if he tried to climb on my kayak, he would tip me over. So they're still like tippy. But anyways, the Coast Guard, once we were safe, they went and drove around and grabbed all our beers from the ocean and brought them back to us.
Like, hey guys, we had 36 of these. Now there's only 34.
Yeah, we're the other ones. Oh, they're really cool, man. I love Sweden. Everyone there is so chill.
I've never been. What? Let me ask you this question. You're in a sea kayak. Why is it not a? I mean, and you learn how to do kind of like the like buddy rescue, but why can't you roll your boat? I mean, when I was into whitewater kayaking when I was in high school, and they're just like, day one, we learned how to roll.
Oh, how to do that? Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I've only kayaked.
Okay, it wasn't required, is what you're like.
No, we rented the kayaks, and while we were on the grass before we pushed off in the ocean and left them, they're like, "Oh, here's this just in case you flip over." They didn't teach us how to do that. But I don't know if you can do the rollover thing on the sea kayaks. I mean, they're really skinny and they're long.
Well, it's easier because in a whitewater boat you've got a broader hull, and if you're like, it's kind of weird. Like you take your paddle and then you turn and you make a T and then you wrench down from the top of the water and then you kind of come up in a C position. So I would like kind of come up like that. So if you're thinking about the mechanics of it, it's kind of hard to explain, but you're upside down, your paddle's right by your thigh, and then you turn it perpendicular to your thigh and you crank on it hard as hell. It's
all about torque, right? Like
it's kind of like doing a muscle up, but laterally. And it's really, really handy when you don't have to slip your spray skirt off and freaking take the boat off and then climb on your friend's dilly. It can be roll. Let's get the beers and let's get out of here.
We're both beginner kayakers. I mean, I've probably kayaked 5 times in my life, and that was like number 5. So actually, I kayaked the other day, it's number 6, and I flipped it right away because well, it was during that heat wave, and our snow was melting. We had like one of the best winters in 10 years, and then we lost all our snow within a week. So the rivers were just crazy, and I went to go drop in, and basically, I just got flipped right away. But I was able to recover and keep going. But
well, I'll actually, you know what? I'll be in Seattle in 3 weeks. How close are you to Seattle?
I am in Falls City right now, but I go to Seattle every single day for work. So I mean, hit me up, and we'll go rock climbing.
I'll be there. We'll talk later about that. All
right.
But and then we'll get you that roll down. So next time you flip your boat, you can just be like, "Oh, no big deal. I'm refreshed."
The kayak I have right now is the one that sit on top ones. This is a cheapie.
Oh yeah,
crap.
You can't roll those, but it's all good anyway. All right, so you were in Sweden, you were kayaking, and then you went straight to Afghanistan.
No, I went to Poland so I could visit. I just had a brain fart. What's the Auschwitz concentration camp out there? It's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time in my life because
what did you think?
All that cool. Oh, it's, I don't know, crazy. It's just the scope of it.
It's really moving, isn't it?
They have a room just full of hair of all the heads they shaved. They obviously died. That's just crazy. I don't know. It was a lot. But
it's very emotional. It's very, very heavy.
Yeah.
I went to Dachau 15 years ago, and it was, there's a presence in the air that when you know what went on there, and it's just very, everyone's really quiet. So yeah, it's I know what you mean, man.
Yeah, and I went to Berlin for that toughest. So 2 weeks after running that 200-mile race, I'm like, hey, there's the toughest in Berlin. So I went down there, flashed it. But I only made 2 laps. Well, I made 7 miles. And then that last 3 miles, I just crawled because my legs quit. I was done. I couldn't move them. I literally crawled. I crawled up Everest somehow. I went to the side.
Yeah, this is all before Everest also, right? Just to get the timeline right.
Yeah, that last lap took me like 2-3 hours. I don't know, forever. I was literally crawling. People were like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." And people, like everyone that passed me for 2 hours, said that. I'm like, I really love that you guys will look out for me, but I've heard this about 20 million times already. I'm good. I will get there. But yeah, I got to Everest and I kind of just did a lean to, like for rock climbing. If you're climbing a crack, you just lean on it. I just was able to smudge my way up it, even though I couldn't stand up or run. But anyways, I did that. I was stupid. I should have done it. And then I went to Colorado for a Goat Tough meeting with Ryan Atkins, and Lindsay Webster was there, and Austin Nazar, and Deanna Braz. Who else? I can't remember. But
what do you guys? So you fly from Berlin to, hang on, man, because I
didn't fly into Berlin. That's a whole other story, a long one. But I took a bus because I didn't want them to know when I was there, because I've been arrested there twice, and last time they arrested me, I flew in. They've arrested me in the airport, so I'm like, me and Jeremy don't get along, and still probably don't.
Okay, well, I'm gonna we'll talk about that off camera here. But so all right, so you took a bus from Berlin to some other European country, and then you just flew to Colorado. I'm sorry, did you say Colorado?
Yeah. So I went to Copenhagen, Denmark. Then I went to Paris, France, and then I flew to Colorado, and then I was there for like a week, I think.
How are you feeling? Because I know you like to walk around in the places that you visit. Like you're like you do tourism, right? But how are your legs feeling after, you did 200 miles across Scotland, and then you did another toughest, which was what, 30 miles, you said?
I only made 7, then I crawled the last 3, and I only did 10, and I went to sleep.
Okay. So you're probably good that you listen to your body there, Trevor. And then so you're walking around Europe, basically. What's your body feeling like? I mean, because after all this shit that you've done, you still haven't even climbed Everest yet. I mean, no big deal there, but your body's like, hey, what's going on?
Well, immediately after the race, I was feverish for about a week. I couldn't walk. My feet were scabs. All the skin between all my toes is gone. And then, so it's pretty rough. And then I went to Prague first after London, but basically a week and a half, I was just incapable. Yeah. Cause then I went to Prague for some days. Then I went to Berlin. Then I went to, anyways, I forget the order of the trip, but
yeah. No worries.
2 weeks was terrible. And then I started feeling fine. By the time I got to Colorado, I had not run or done anything for almost a month. And then Colorado, we went and ran up a mountain with Austin Nazar, and he of course smoked me, and I was trying to keep up. And that was my first run, but it's still like everything felt really tight, and the bones still hurt in my joints. So I was like, I'm not ready for this. So I just did the minimum there. Did climb Crested Butte Mountain. And then that was it. I just did 2 runs, and I went back and I just relaxed, and I got ready for the America's Toughest West that year in Sonoma. I don't know if you did that one.
No.
But yeah, then that was my first.
We're in 2028. We're in 2018 now.
Yeah, that was 2018. So yeah, that was October 20th. So I ran August 20th. I ran that 200-mile race, and I was basically broken until October 20th. I ran toughest in Sonoma, and Chris Mendoza beat me out at the end there. But I did get second, so I was happy with that. And I think I did 45 miles. I can't remember.
Okay. So. And then you went to Afghanistan, right? Like, the day after that, and then they're probably making you run around a little bit out there.
Yeah, I always go to Afghanistan for Christmas because I'm not married, so I'm like, I'll just do that so the married guys can go home. So it's kind of my thing. So I went there to December, January. I was gone in Afghanistan. I came back, went snowboarding, and jumped off a cliff and hit a tree on the way down, broke my ribs. And they called me like, "Hey, we need to go to Afghanistan."
Hang on. Wait. Slow down. You didn't, all right, because you're like, da, 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 and you're doing all this awesome shit, and I want to like unpack it a little bit.
Okay.
So there's no, you didn't go, just to be clear, you didn't go snowboarding in Afghanistan, right? That's not where you broke your ribs. Okay.
No,
and what are you doing in Afghanistan? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I'm private security, basically protecting government people that work over there and civilians. Basically, I work out today, and I have a radio, and if anything happens on the radio, I respond to it and just make sure I'm a presence there. So that's it.
I understand. Okay. All right. So you do that for 60 days, and then you jumped off a cliff and broke your ribs.
Like almost immediately. So I was only home, I think, like 2 weeks total. And then after I broke my ribs, I was kind of just, I can't move. I couldn't even lay down to sleep because I broke 3 of them. I punctured a hole in my lung. And they called me like, "Hey, we need someone in Afghanistan." I was like, "Well, I can't do anything, so this sucks sitting at home." Like, I'll go back to Afghanistan. So like within a week of breaking my ribs, I flew to Afghanistan. And then I realized, oh yeah, I put on a flak jacket to fly on this helicopter. And I put on a flak jacket, and the weight of that SAPI plate, the bulletproof plate, those are heavy. They're almost like 10, 15 pounds. That was crushing my ribs, and I couldn't breathe on that helicopter. I'm like, I need to get out of here. This is killing me. A stupid idea to come here. But yeah, I made it through that trip, and I basically spent the whole Afghanistan recovering. It was only a 30-day trip. It's neat. They had emergency help they needed, and I went out there and did it. And then I got back, and I had like 2 weeks, I think, before the Nepal race. I can't remember, something like that. So basically, I did zero training. All I did was sit and heal. But I was in the desert in South Afghanistan, so I wasn't at high elevation, being acclimated like that. At least I could have been acclimating, but no, they put me in the lowest elevation you can get in Afghanistan. So yeah, I got to Nepal, and felt just Kathmandu was taking my breath away because I couldn't breathe there. And I was like, oh no, I'm going higher, so I'm screwed. But,
so, well, hey man, at least in Afghanistan your feet were dry.
Yeah.
Broken ribs, getting your lungs crushed out, but dry feet. So you got to take your wins where you can get them, Trevor.
Good luck getting wet out there.
Yeah, right.
First, just swimming when I get back.
Roll my kayak and bow, hit my head on a rock. So you're, I'm kidding. Knock on wood. All right. So now we've done all this, and this is just a 6 months in your life. It's just a day, another day for Trevor. So now we're ready to climb Mount Everest, right? We've got cracked ribs.
I wish.
What's that?
I didn't climb it. No, the race just touched Everest Base Camp and we turned around. So we didn't actually climb it.
Okay. Well, you're now ready to climb to Mount Everest and do it as fast as possible at a race pace. And how long that race was? That was your 4 days, I'm up, not sleeping race.
Yeah. Well, but there was, I think, 10 aid stations on that race as well, but they're shorter spaced. I think they're around 10, 12 miles apart, but you gotta remember it's Nepal. You're not running on roads, you're not running in grassy fields. Sometimes you're on a trail, but most of the time you're on just rock scree and is very slow moving. And like I said, 75 miles of the race or 70 miles of the race for over 15,000 feet elevation. So I mean, good luck running up there, especially when you acclimate. Yeah. So it was tough. I mean, I think my average pace at the end of the race was 1.2 miles an hour, which, it's pretty slow. That's like, but a 40-minute.
Dude, you're at the roof. You're at the roof of the world. You get a little slack up there. A little bit of slack.
Well, I would say it's the most beautiful race I've ever done. Besides me being tired and altitude sickness. My oxygen sat was below 50% at one point. People were like, you should be dead. I'm like, this machine's broken. But anyways,
that's the quote. That's the quote. The quote of our talk here. You should be dead. This machine says you're dead. Your machine's broken.
But yeah, I mean, it was the most beautiful race, and if I can't go back to that race one day, I would just love to go back to Nepal. I've been there twice, and this country is stunning. There's no roads at night. There's no light pollution. There's no generators, no nothing. You're total quiet. It's just, I love it. It's like going back before cars, before horses. Oh yeah, before there are no horses up there. You'll see some yaks, but
yaks. Yeah,
I love it. It's a transfer to another time in the world, really.
What? So you had 3 nights and 4 days of racing?
Yeah, I think we started at 7 a.m. and then finished 100 hours after that. And I told the guys I was going to finish in 40 hours. I'm like, it's like 135 miles. I can probably do this. I'm like, I'll do it in 40 hours. And they laughed. They're like, that'd be legendary. I'm like, all right, we'll see. And then, I totally, I'm a douchebag. It took me 100 hours.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Most people wouldn't even consider doing what you do. Do me a favor. I know that you excel at night. Like, one of your things that you love to do is, like, when that sun goes down, it's like, all right, it's Trevor's time to grind. And can you kind of paint me a picture of, you're in Nepal, the sun's going down, and what do you see?
It depends on the night and the location. The very first night, I was still in the lowlands, which lowlands are 12,000 feet there, but there is vegetation. So, and I just happened to be going up this 3,000 foot climb, which was all stone steps. And, runners hate steps more than anything. We just want to run on a trail. So it was literally lunging. Like, so Nepalese people are pretty short, but their steps are like knee high. So I'm literally just doing one-legged squats for 3,000 feet. And that's when right around night hit, and I lay down on the steps. And I'm like, I don't know if I can finish this race. I'm dead. I was dead. I was already getting altitude sickness at 12,000 feet, which usually doesn't happen to me. I'm usually pretty good, but I lay down there and tried to go to sleep. I couldn't do it. So I got up and went to that next aid station, probably the third one by then. This is all before 50 miles in the race, and I went in there and I was like, I'm going to close my eyes for a bit. Like, wants to set an alarm. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I basically was quitting, but I went to sleep for like 45 minutes. I got up. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? This is an opportunity. I got to take it. So I got up and I kept going. And by then I'd gone from second place back to fourth, but then, the hunt began and I got back up to second. And, but each night it was just, I don't know, because
what does it smell like up there? Like, what is all the rock in the air? What is, like, whatever? What is it? What is
like
it?
The high alpine, like, go up to the high Sierra and the high Sierras, just like that, it's just on a different scale because that's near the equator. So you gotta be a lot higher to get to that same feeling that you can get a lot lower up here in this hemisphere. I don't know if that term's correct. Anyways, it's go to the Sierras, same smell. Have you been around the John Muir trails, kind of like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, just just like that. It's nature. But most of the race, there is no trees, there is no shade. So you're roasting in the sun, and temperature swings are pretty high, just like the desert. I swear. I mean, I ran the whole race in shorts. I was at 18,000 feet 4 times in shorts. But sometimes you get those chills. But I was always moving when I was outside. Besides twice, I laid down on the trail. At the very first mountain pass, the Chinese Wanhei, Chinese girl I was running with for a while, she'd passed me. So me and her were in third together running for a while. Then I passing her to get third overall because she decided she was going to go to sleep and I just wanted to finish. But at one point, me and her both laid down on the trail going up that first 18,000 foot pass. Like, we're done. I mean, it was literally at the point I'm taking 10 steps at a time and then falling down on the ground and then laying there and then getting up, taking another 10 steps and falling back down. Like, that's how bad the altitude sickness got me. And I think she was just tired because she ran too hard because she was acclimated. I think they'd all been in Tibet training or whatever before that. But I've never been that dead in my life. And 100 hours is I only slept every maybe 15, 16 hours, but only for half an hour, 45 minutes. And I was trying to get food in there. And also, when you're altitude sick, you're not hungry. I literally did not eat that whole race. I eat once every 12 hours and get a bowl of rice with hard boiled egg because they don't really have much protein there. They don't, the cows are sacred there. They don't eat cows. They have yaks, but I don't want yak meat. And good luck finding it that high in the mountains. So really,
why not eat yak?
I mean, they do, but there's the places we were, they didn't have yak. They didn't have meat.
Okay.
They're mostly very high on rice and hard boiled eggs, basically their diet. So I was eating egg fried rice.
I didn't know if you had like an aversion to yak meat or something, but you don't seem like the kind of guy who would turn away a new experience.
No, when you got to an aid station, like, here's your option. You can get stir fried rice or stir fried rice with eggs. I'm like, stir fried rice with eggs, please. Yeah. So I ate that about every 12 hours. But yeah, you're not hungry. And I would take a few bites, lay down, then I'd sleep for 30 minutes, get up, take a few more bites. I eat like maybe a quarter of that meal. I'm like, thank you. I can't take it with me because I don't want anything to eat it with. And I just go refill water. And so I really didn't eat that much that race. And it was wild. It was an adventure.
It sounds like a hell of a time. So you wanted to give up twice, and that was the most fatigued you'd ever been. When was the second time that you were like, I'm done? Where were you in the race?
I was coming back down the last mountain pass, basically nearly 100 miles in the race. And this is when I had lost Wanhei. And so we coming back from Everest Base Camp with the Wanhei, we got to this the town right before Everest Base Camp, which is just a party spot. A lot of times people because that was Everest season, it was May, so a lot of the people that were climbing Everest were there, and they get tired of each other. So when we showed up in the race, we were like celebrities. Like they all just came to us, and I got to chat to all those people who are climbing Everest. And anyways, a lot of people actually hike the 5 kilometers back to that town just so they can drink beer and freaking party and whatever. So it's kind of a lively town. It's good food. And Wanhei was all about it. So she was getting all the food she could get, but I still wasn't hungry. So I just left without her. And I went into that last mountain pass by myself. I think that was the one where, as I was going up, a guy was coming down with just blood gushing down his face because a rock had fallen and hit him in the head. So I'm like, oh, sweet. That's what I'm going into by myself. And it was getting dark fast. So my goal was to get above the pass before dark because I didn't know where to go. Because you're going up the pass, but there's no trails. So you're basically navigating by terrain. And I ended up making it up the pass right around dark, but I descend in dark, and I lost the trail completely. So I was like, all right, sweet. I know that I need to go down this valley and to the right. So I just worked my way down the valley with no trail. And then I got to this ridge, and I was running along it, traversing the mountain. And I was using GPX for the race, but what's GPS accuracy? If it's really good, it's within 100 feet, maybe. It's probably 200 or 300 feet off. I'm like, It says I'm on the trail, but I don't see a trail. And I was like, I know I need to be down there. And I was like, oh crap, I need to be across that river. And this river was raging, like white water. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to cross this river. Did I miss a bridge back there? So I don't want to backtrack and go back up this valley. I don't want to go down and just follow this river and get so lost I'm done and no one can find my body. So I just kind of laid in the grass, and we all had trackers because it's a pretty crazy race. So for liability purposes, we all had to wear a tracker, and they're all watching us on the computer and like, why is Trevor not moving for 30 minutes? Like that's what they told me after the race. Like they got really worried about me. Like, did he die? So I was just, because I was in second at the time, I think. I don't know, third. No, I was still in third. But yeah, I just laid there and I was staring at the stars. Beautiful. I mean, all the stars in the world you can see. There's no lights around me. It's just total black. And then I see these little headlamps like way out there. I'm like, what the hell is that? And these 2 kids. So the village where the next station was, they've been tracking me. They're like, they sent these 2 kids, like, go find him. Because like, oh yeah, I know where he's at. Like, I grew up here. I know everything. So they find me and they're like, hey, mister, like, follow us. I'm like, yeah, I'm retarded. Okay, I'll follow you. And they got me to the next village. And I got there. I'm like, thank you, boys. Fist bump. But yeah, at that point, I was like, because I didn't know how to get across the river. So, oh, did I lose you?
No, you're here. You're here. So
no,
so the kids. So you're on this side of a mountain, and it's pitch black, middle of the night, and these kids come out and they guide you. Like, you found a bridge to get across the river.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So I didn't know I had no clue where the bridge was. Like, I had a GPS. I mean, I had a GPX. So like my watch has a line and an arrow, and that's what I was using to navigate. I should have brought a GPS, but I'm too cheap to buy the Garmin maps because they cost so much money. I'm like, just do it this way.
Yeah,
I'll be fine.
They are a hefty fee to add that onto your features.
Probably should have got a map. Whatever, I don't know. But anyways, I couldn't find the bridge, and it's pitch black. So.
And then how many days was that before the end of the race, or how many miles was that before the end of the race?
That was my last night. After that, I went to that village. I did a quick refuel. That was where they did my last auction set, like that picture where it actually shows it like being like 46 or whatever. I mean, I look messed up, but I was coherent enough to remember it. And that's when they're like, yeah, you're bad. I'm like, I'm fine.
Your machine's broken.
Yeah, like, you want to go to sleep? That machine's broke. Like, you want to go to sleep? I'm like, no, I got to finish. So I went that entire night without sleep, and I ended up getting to the finish just before dark the next day. So that was my longest push. It was probably, it actually probably was like a 24 something hour push without sleeping on that one.
That's crazy, man. That's nuts. So I'm gonna what's next for you? I want to give everybody a heads up. You can read an amazing account of your performance at OCRW, which was right after this. It's beautifully written, and it just takes you take us back like with you. I know that people who've like run at night know exactly how that temperature drop, and it's like, oh, what am I going to wear? But anyway, so I want to kind of I don't want to spend too much time on that because you did such a great job right up. You finished Nepal, and your ribs are still. You're doing all this with broken ribs still, right?
The ribs healed pretty fast. I healed pretty fast. It was like 3 weeks, and then but I still couldn't run for about a month. But I was able to at least stand up and walk around after a week, and then I was able to sleep on my back again within 2 weeks, and then
this was but going into Nepal, were your ribs still broken? No,
they healed by then.
Okay.
But so I didn't have any training though, and that was the problem. I wasn't able to train for the race.
Got it. I understand. So basically it was OCRW 2019, and then what came after that? Was that when COVID hit, like early 2020?
No, so OCRW, and then World's Toughest Mudder was the next race after that. And so Chris had beat me in 2018. I basically led 12 hours of race, and then I somehow got another puncture in my lung and was coughing up blood on that last lap. Last lap took me like an hour and a half, and it should take me like an hour. And Chris Mendoza passed me the last half mile of the race. So then I kind of I was like, I gotta beat him. Like, I'm pretty mad about that. So actually, so me and him both got invited to OCRW by the race director there. So me and him went there together, and he had a problem. So I beat him in that race, but he had a problem. I want to beat him healthy. So after that was World's Toughest Mudder 2019 in Atlanta. And that's when we finally got to do a rematch, and I was able to beat him there. And then I haven't raced since then because that's when COVID hit right after that. That was November 2019.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of where most things shut down. So what's next for you, man? I mean, things are kind of opening back up.
World's Toughest Mudder for sure in Las Vegas, because they're bringing back the money and they're going back to Las Vegas, which is the best venue ever. Everyone can agree on that.
Better than Englishtown, New Jersey, that's for sure.
And Atlanta, hot Atlanta, or Islanta.
Pretty toasty in Atlanta. I know. Atlanta. I did Jersey, and then that's it. I was like, hypothermia, awesome. That was fun. Thank you.
I mean, that first year it was super hot and actually it was really cold during the day and really cold at night. Like the ropes were freezing, and then the second year is just really hot. And then so we had two different extremes there, but it's just we went during the wrong time. But it's just Atlanta, it's just South's not for me. Humidity gets me. I think that's why I agree. Humidity's punching. Dude, I'm from Tennessee, and I remember when I was little, just going outside in the summertime. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go play, and the humidity goes bow and punches you right in the chest, and goes, nope, get back inside and lay on the floor, Vince, with the dogs. I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, you win. Yeah, and heat. If it's besides 2019 Atlanta, I've never done well in a race in the South. like Florida. I've raced Florida 3 times, and I was just done terrible, just dying.
Yeah.
And then the thing with Florida,
The
I'll
heat
try to
is
avoid
oppressive.
this.
So are you gonna be trained up? Are you gonna take the crown for WTM 21?
I hope so. But I know Atkins is going to be there. I think Robert Killing's going to go. I actually just talked to Javier Escobar, and he's been following the news more than I kind of just disconnect from everything. And he tuned me in that a lot of people are coming. So, I mean, $10,000 prize. So
That's a big purse, man. Everybody's been, you're gonna see who's been training and who's just been drinking during quarantine. So I think it's gonna be definitely something to tune into.
yeah.
And I don't know, maybe no, I'm not gonna say anything. Never mind.
You said maybe you're gonna go. You should go.
No, I didn't say that. I've got, man.
I think you're gonna say it.
No, I wasn't. My dance card filled up quick. I'm swimming Alcatraz next week. I'm onto this like Spartan Deca thing, which I'm having a lot of fun at. I won one of them, this little local thing out here in Fairfield, and so I'm doing another one, and then I'm doing a sprint up in Portland, which will be awesome.
I would watch you sprint.
Yes, I love that course. That is cow pasture central, man. You got to be careful out there.
I used to ride dirt bikes on them as a kid, because I grew up around that area.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful up there. That's what I love. But anyway, well, listen, man. I got one question that I like to ask my friends that I have on. You're an amazing person. You're a very giving person. You're an absolute maniac when it comes to the OCR world. You don't have to leave anything behind when your time comes. The only thing in life sure is death, right? So my question to you is, what are you giving to the world, Trevor?
I'm not giving to the world. It's a deep question. I don't know. I mean, I'm giving people. My priority is my friends and family. I like to take care of my friends and family. You can talk to a lot of my friends and family about that. Like, I will give them straight off my back, So I'm just trying to leave a good impression and trying to share what I've learned with everyone who's willing to learn with me. So, I mean, I got a friend visiting right now from New Jersey, and he's never rock climbed, rappelled, not done much. So I took him rock climbing yesterday, and so I'm teaching him that. Also, another friend from the Marine Corps visited from Colorado, and I taught him rock climbing. So I'm like, I love to teach people new things and see, especially rock climbing, people love it. People just think it's like flying the moon. They can't do it. They can never do it, but it's really easy to do. Teaching the rope work and just how simple the whole system is, and it's beautiful. So I just try to make an impact on people's lives, with the best way I can. Plus, it's a good way to get outside and get active. So
let's say you're doing your fair share of that, my friend. You inspire more people than you know. Where can people find you?
Instagram is probably the main thing I check. So was it Trevor Cichosz? Is my handle. My name is my handle, Trevor Cichosz, but the last name is Charlie India, Charlie Hotel, Oscar, Sierra Zulu. So Trevor, and then that name. It's Polish. Good luck spelling it.
It is. Well, it'll be on the title.
Okay.
And then, are you still active on Ground Pounder? Because your write-ups are amazing.
Yeah. So basically, when COVID hit, I was like, well, snowboarding is my favorite thing to do besides racing. So I just set out to snowboard like all the hardest lines in Snoqualmie Pass here, all these couloirs, basically like anything 45 to 55 degree freaking ice shoots or most snow shoots. Sometimes ice, you get on the wrong day, but so basically there's not a lot of beta on that. So I was like, I'm going to compile, how to do it, the approach, everything. So it makes it easier for people to do if they're so inclined to go snowboard those lines. And then now summer hit, it's rock climbing season. So now I'm just rock climbing every day because I live 20 minutes from some really good walls. So
love it, man. I'm gonna come up north and shred with you once the snow hits. I'd love to hit the slopes with you. But listen, man, I want to thank you so much for your time, and it's good to see you again. It's good to see you thriving, and just take care of yourself, all right? And we'll talk again soon, okay?
Yeah, I love that globe in the background. That's a nice globe.
This guy?
Yeah, dude, yeah, no.
Pal.
I want that. But anyways, nice seeing you again, and thanks for having me.
All right, Trevor. Take care, my friend.
See you, man.
Bye.